Okay, so I came to the Grand in August 2018. We had faced significant trauma as an organisation here. We had been in the press and all over social media for poor workplace culture and bullying. We had had significant complaints from various members of staff over a period of almost a year and a half. So we were a very traumatised organisation, I would say. So when I arrived here, not only had we been through that kind of trauma, but the damage that poor mental health management and bullying had caused was really stark in our bottom line, not just in the health of our staff and the health of the organisation. All of our grants have been frozen. So the consequences of the behaviour of the leadership in this organisation had financial implications too. And I think lots of corporations don't get to see that, or they don't realise what it's doing to their productivity levels and their bottom line. So we were starting not at ground zero, but significantly behind ground zero. So there wasn't just a matter of taking some initiatives to produce an environment of good quality mental health and emotional health in this organisation. We were really damaged. So one of the first steps that we took, and this was a little bit before me, but was a recommendation that I brought to the board about a year and a half ago, was that we look at Sheldon Kennedy's Respecting the Workplace program. Sheldon's a friend of mine. Brad Blaisdell, who runs the Respecting the Workplace program in Canada, was invited in, and we decided that we needed to draw a line in the sand of how do we respect each other and how should we treat each other. So what the Respecting the Workplace program does, it's a online workshop, and they actually helped us in person here, that teaches you the correct way to speak to somebody, to listen to somebody, what kind of terminology is correct, what kind of body language is correct, how you should be around each other physically. So it's a really clear black and white picture of this is a respectful workplace and this isn't. This is a respectful way to behave and this isn't. And it's also got a whistleblower component to it. So if you are experiencing poor behaviour, you have a confidential route to report that, and that report would go direct to the board, not just to me, because I may be the one who's causing that. So there's a confidential route. So we don't like calling it whistleblower, but it is a conduit that somebody can feel safe to voice their opinion or voice their concerns. So what that has given us is a real clear platform to start to build our team culture with. I pretty much had no team here when I arrived, so it is important as we rebuilt the team and rebuilt the organisation to make sure we all understand each other and what is acceptable. We also took a really big leap by doing that. We were the first arts and culture organisation in North America to take that step.
Wow.
So we are leaders, not just in our city here, but in terms of the whole continent. I feel that is significant for an organisation based here in Calgary. So the second step we took was we invited Dr. Ryan Todd onto our board. He's a mental health professional of the highest calibre. He's also the CEO of an organisation called Adversity, which is a growing resiliency and mental health platform based here in Calgary, a startup organisation. So by providing the doctor on our board, we have made really clear at management level, it doesn't matter who the CEO or the leaders are in the organisation, but our board has first and foremost got a mental health expert to guide us. So we can push every decision through that filter. Is it right or wrong for our staff? Is it right or wrong for the arts? And we have linked the respect in the workplace whistleblower component directly to the board, and we have a mental health expert on our board.
Wow.
So it really ties the two together for us. We also introduced a Headversity program to our team and board here in the theatre. So Headversity is an incredible platform and workshop series that helps our staff understand all the signs in themselves of possible mental health issues like depression or stress management. Helps them understand that in their colleagues and the leaders. And also gives them some tools personally to handle that. Yeah. And the resiliency component is not around traditional resiliency as we think of it as toughness, but the ability to manage your life and keep a balanced emotional state. That's a true component of resiliency that we loved as an organisation. And you would think because we're in arts and culture that would come quite naturally to us, because we're a creative, emotionally led field. A lot of the things we do here have to tie emotionally to our audience and our artists. But it turns out as an industry we're fairly poor at it. So I think it was really critical that we be the first arts and culture organisation in North America again that took that step. So this is the heart and soul of everything we do in this theatre. My staff are working in high stress situations, their hours, they manage themselves. We're open really crazy hours in here. Our schedules are very crazy. So we not only manage corporate events, but we have the arts here. So, you know, you can be going home at 1 o'clock in the morning and coming in at 6. And so it is important they learn to manage themselves. They've also learned to manage each other. And even to the point where my staff are willing to say to me, "Are you okay, Tony?"
Wow.
Right. And I think that's a real sign of the trust that we started to build here. So I really love that component. And we are building a community here at the Grand, and we don't view it as team building, we view it as community building. We really look after each other and we look after the artists that perform in this theatre. One of the initiatives we'll be taking next year is we're well down the road of opening up an incubator and accelerator for the performing arts. And part of that structure will be a wellness centre for the performing arts. And we will make available the Respect in the Workplace programme and the Headversity Resiliency Training programme. And we will also provide physio, chiropractic and mental health services right here at the Grand, available for artists in this city. I don't think that exists anywhere else in Canada.
I haven't heard of anything like that.
Yeah. I think it may exist in the US, I'm not sure, but we don't look after our artists very well in this city. We don't look after our artists very well in Canada. And we don't look after them very well in North American society. The average earning power of an artist, and mostly freelancers, is around $26,000 a year.
I concur.
Yeah. So affording a massage as a dancer is well not impossible. Yeah. We want to provide that. There's a very clear link in the triangle of looking after yourself. There's emotional, mental, spiritual and physical. So in spiritual, we look at mindfulness and meditation, and that's part of my daily practice. But it's very difficult to be emotionally balanced and mentally well if you've got chronic back pain, or your knee joints hurt, or you suffer from allergies or migraines. So I think it's important to recognise you can't just have a mental health program without a proper wellness program available for your people. You know, and larger companies are able to afford that, and the staff are able to choose it, but that doesn't exist in the arts. All of my staff have benefits here, which again is unusual. Not the best benefits in the world, we have what we can afford, but it's a start. So,
that's amazing, and
yeah.
I think what I love about what you do here is that you lead that you as a leader are the one who realizes that you create this.
Yeah.
Whereas many people, leaders are thinking, isn't this horrible where we are? But
Yeah.
here's Tony
Yeah.
going, well, no, I lead the charge. I create the culture.
That should be my job description. That my primary role as a CEO, it doesn't matter what my organisation is the well-being of my people before anything else. We have a resident Indigenous theatre company here, so you know we live and work alongside of these guys. They're part of our day. We eat together, we work together, we play together. So we decided that we didn't, as part of our community at the ground, we didn't want a written diversity policy and an inclusivity policy. We feel they're just empty gestures. We have a welcome policy in the ground. So we don't care where you're from, what your gender is, what your sexuality is, what your religion is. We don't care. We don't care what your politics are. The only thing that's not tolerated here is either hatred or racism. So that really fits in with, we're a community, we look after each other. It's safe here. And I think creating a safe workplace environment, again, should be in my job description. If I'm going to look after my people, my job is to create a safe working environment. And I don't just mean physically, but in every other way. But I think we write wonderful job descriptions for leaders in business, but we manage people.
Yes, we don't manage paper.
No, I even hate the term human resources. I don't like that term. It's like we've got mechanical resources and then we've got human resources and office resources. It puts our people as a part of data. They're a quantifiable resource for the business. And I think that's depersonalized a lot of businesses now.
And that's probably why we're in the place we are, is because we've forgotten the human.
No doubt. No doubt about that whatsoever. I hear it in politics, I hear it in business. Like we've dehumanized. So, you know, you get a CEO walks into work and walks straight past the receptionist and doesn't say good morning and shuts his or her door. You know, I believe that's negligence. Right? I think CEOs and leaders should be held accountable for that kind of behaviour. Because it's those small things in terms of recognising your people, saying, I see you're not well, or you're looking unusually low, or you look tired. Having the ability to stop for a moment as a leader and say, you're okay. Right? I think we've forgotten how to do that. I see some healthy signs of it beginning to happen, but I think there's a danger that mental health is this year's darling.
Yeah.
So we're going to have fundraisers and talks and we'll have potluck lunches and new online programs, and so we'll go buy the tools for good mental health, and it's human to human. I particularly like to talk about addiction and alcoholism. I'm 22 years in recovery myself. So I think the non-drinking community that I belong to, and it's international, our whole existence, our lives depend on community. Whether we live or die, depends on community. And I think we've got to start understanding that in business. We live and die by community. Because if we don't look after each other and we don't take that moment to say, are you okay? People die. So this isn't a nice to have in the ground. This is not an initiative we wish to be recognised for, or something we get a plaque on the wall, or we make the top 7 over 70 or whatever that is. This is life and death. Yeah. Not just about the business. We spend a lot of time in work, so it is one of the communities that we engage in where we spend a large chunk of our day. If we don't look after ourselves here, people then go home at night on their own very often. So my alcoholism depends on my community, my very existence. Right? If it wasn't for that community, I don't know where I would be now.
Isn't that the truth? I love what you say when it comes to mental health, addiction, even inclusion, welcoming. You say, help me understand. If I don't understand, help me understand.
Yeah, we do that with gender. I'm a 63-year-old white guy and I grew up in the UK. So I have to very often say, please forgive me, I don't understand. So can you help me understand?
So every white man out there and white woman needs to remember that statement.
Yes, I think so. Like I don't always understand somebody else's culture. I don't understand. I've had to learn gender definition. I didn't understand that, so I've had to ask. Because otherwise I just sit in the dark, and then if I don't understand, I don't behave in a way that's respectful. I've learned so much from Justin Manyfingers here, the creative director at Making Treaty 7 Culture Society. Like, he's helped me understand so much, and we're fast friends. And this is an Indigenous young man who's gay from the Blood Reservation. And I'm a 63-year-old white man, born in Ireland and grew up in England. So on the face of it, we should, like, we're the polar opposite.
Yes.
But we're not.
Wow.
At all. Like, we're very close friends and we speak about this a lot. But I have to ask a lot of questions. But he's learning to ask me questions. What was it like to grow up the way you grew up? You know, and I don't come from a privileged background at all, but you begin to understand now, and he'll say to me, are you okay? And my staff had to say that to me recently. I'd overworked and I got stressed, and I just got back from 2 weeks in Mexico. And my staff had said, are you okay, Tommy? So that was them checking in with me. So if you see your boss struggling, I think it's just as important to take the initiative to say to your boss, are you okay?
Yes.
It's got to work both ways.
And that you've created that. That's why I wanted to have you at the conference.
I'm really looking forward to that.
Me too. I think people will be, well, even this conversation, the conversation we're going to have on that day, it opens people's eyes to realize, I, like Tony, could create this too.
It is not difficult to do, and it's quick to do.
Isn't that interesting? A lot of people think it's complicated.
I don't believe so. I think you just got to decide that it is the fabric of everything we do, not just an initiative to fix a problem.
Yes.
Okay, so we're going to draw a line in the sand, and from this day forward, we run everything we do through this filter. That's it.
Wow.
Right.
That's phenomenal.
It's a people-first organisation, not a bottom line first. It is statistically clear that your bottom line exponentially improves if you go this route, if you have a heart-led organisation.
Yes.
But traditionally we've learned that we've got to manage the bottom line first and the rest is afterwards. But if you manage your people first in the right way, the bottom line looks after itself. You don't have to worry about it.
That's so powerful.
I think so.
There's
a lot of data out there around that. So.
There is.
Yeah.
There's a lot of proof, and we can literally change the world just by changing our workplaces.
I think so. I listen to Gary Vaynerchuk quite often. Gary V. You either love him or hate him. I particularly love him, and he talks a lot. He's an entrepreneur, and he's very loud and sometimes a little obnoxious, and he talks about business and being driven in business. But when you hear him talk, he talks about people. And his people are the critical component. And he says the most important person in his organisation, and including himself, is his people person. And he's got a woman doing that job, and her name escapes me now, but that's the most important person in his organisation. Wow. And this is a guy who talks about making money and making millions and buying the New York jets, but it's people. He talks about people, and I kind of like that. So.
Yes, people.
So, kudos, Gary, if you're out there anyway.
Yeah, if he listens to this conversation, wouldn't that just be fabulous?
I've listened, and I feel the same way. So we talked a little bit earlier about, I was a reserve infantry officer in the British military, and Simon Sinek wrote a book called, I don't know if I've got this right, but Leaders Eat Last. So one of the principles of being a high quality infantry officer is that you went to bed after your troops. So you paid attention first and foremost before you slept to, are they warm? Are they dry? Do they have shelter? Are their feet intact because we're infantry? Do they have the right equipment? Are their weapons all in good order? So you make sure they're fed and warm and looked after, then you plan the next day, and then you go to bed. So you're last to leave and first to rise. Right. And I think that's a great principle as a leader anywhere in any organisation. And I'm not saying that the military are the best managers of the mental health of their people, but that principle as an in-the-field infantry officer, that's done me well over the years. I also learned to make my bed. And I make my bed every morning.
Wow.
And a principle I've learned in my recovery is make your bed.
Make your bed. You need to tell my kids that.
It's amazing. You make your bed and you come home to a made bed.
It's beautiful. It
feels
feels better.
And it takes a couple, and I know it sounds weird, but I think if you start to do those things in the workplace too, like you make your bed at work, and
Yes.
you know, a tidy workplace. So when I came here, lots of our office chairs were broken, our ticket office chairs were broken, there was duct tape on everything, and we made do. We've changed all of that for significantly not a large amount of money. We bought all brand new chairs in an auction.
Wow.
None of them match, but they're all brand spanking new. And we bought new booking office chairs because our staff started to suffer with back pain, and it just, when you live in an environment of lack, you get lack. It's the law of attraction. So we attracted lack and depression and a feeling of we're not cared about, a feeling that the organisation doesn't care about us. Look at the crappy chairs we've got. So you've got to start paying attention to your environment, and the windows need to be clean, and the floors need to be clean, and we having nice toilet paper, and you know, like just those things that you would do in your own home. So, you know, a workplace environment is important. And, you know, we have lots of companies where the staff don't have any outside light. You know, so you've got to change that.
It makes a difference
Yeah,
in all aspects, mentally, everything.
mental illness is a real problem. This is not a nice to have in your organisation. So you've got to get that through your head really early. I've built teams and led teams since my 20s, so I feel I have a lot of experience in this field, and I feel I'm entitled to a tiny bit of expertise because of my own personal experience with mental health and recovery. So I implore organisations out there and leaders to, you know, this isn't a cool, nice to have initiative. This is the very fabric of your business. The very fabric of everything you do day to day. Nothing is more important than your people. Nothing. Nothing. Even if we get robots.
Yeah. Even, yeah.
Yeah. We've got to pay more attention to our people at that point. So.
Oh, and thank you for reading that.
My pleasure.
Yeah.
And I've got to give kudos to my team because they've embraced this fully. They're magnificent young people. I hope they go on to bigger and better things than ever I could provide for them here, and they take this message and this fabric of leadership out into the world with them, because that's how we'll affect change. Yeah. It can be done quickly, it can be done effectively, so you know, don't think this is a difficult thing to do. Wow. Just quit having meetings and do it. So we invite